Hello there, boys and girls, and all of those in between. My name is Maliena Bitchcock, and I want to welcome you to another fantastic episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, a fantastic talk show where I get to interview some of the best performers from all over. And this week, I am so happy to get a very Portland legend in their own right, and break down their life as a drag queen. Let's welcome to the Bitch Talk with Bitchcock stage, the one and only Kimber Shade.
Hi, how are ya?
Hey girl, how are you doing? Are you surviving quarantine over there?
Bitch, it's hot, but I'm surviving.
Oh my goodness, the heat is a real thing today. I'm putting on my makeup and it's sweating off just as quickly.
Yes, ma'am. I was in the bathroom. I had to go get another fan. That's why I was late, because it was coming off. And, I had to give you a little bit of beauty for the girls, honey.
Well, you are definitely serving some beauty today, and I am loving it. You are just, I love that hair, oh, goodness, you are just looking beautiful.
Thank you. I wanted to wear something to complement your neon.
Oh, yes. I'm serving a little neon housewife today. I kind of like it. Bitchcock doesn't look too bad in short hair.
She looks great, honey.
Thank you. Well, girl, I know everyone is so excited to finally get to know you and dive into the life of the one and only Kimber Shade. So are you ready to dive into the bulk of this interview?
I want to dive deep.
Really deep? Well, perfect. Well, Kimber, let's start at the beginning and actually tell me about your first exposure to drag.
Okay. It all started a long, long time ago in a land named Portland, Oregon. No, I'm kidding. So about 10 years ago, my good Judy, you might have heard of her, her name is Kimberly Westwood, came to me and she was like, girl, look, we've got to get in drag. They're trying to have a fundraiser. We've got to save the day. I, at the time, was like, working on my male persona, girl. I didn't have time to be getting in a dress, but she convinced me. We actually learned the choreography to Lady Gaga's Telephone. We got a couple of backup dancers, honey. And then, one little Thursday night, we came out and we rocked the party.
Okay. Now, was that your actual first exposure to drag? Like first seeing a drag queen and knowing what it was?
Oh, great. So, no, I blame that all on my big sis. When I was 6 years old, she showed me the movie Tu Wong Fu, and I was like, oh yeah. My God. Guys can get in dresses, and that's okay. Guys can put on wigs and paint nails and all that. But listen, I grew up, Black, obviously, but in New Jersey, and so that wasn't really talked about. So that was my first exposure watching Tu Wong Fu, and I was super, super fascinated. And ever since then, I was a closet case, if you will.
Well, until now, baby.
Yes, until now, honey.
Well, I am so excited about that because, like Tu Wong Fu was one of my first exposures to drag too. And I remember my dad was watching it and I'm like, oh my God, they're the most beautiful women ever. And of course, my big country butch father was just like, no. But look at me now, Daddy. I'm fabulous, just like them.
Yes, I love that. And so, same thing with me. Like, I feel like my sister showed me it, but didn't tell the rest of the family they showed me it. Because now, 20 years later, when I'm dressed in drag, they're all like, "Oh yeah, we knew." And I'm like, "What you mean you knew?"
Well, I love that. Now, you mentioned that when you first started, you started with the one and only Kimberly Michelle Westwood, and you did a little Lady Gaga performance, but what you didn't mention is the next day when you woke up, it completely went viral.
Yeah, so talk about unexpected. We performed, we had a great night, we went out, we got drunk. Somebody uploaded it. I think it was Kimberly Michelle Westwood uploaded it before we all went to bed. And in the morning when we woke up, it had at least, I want to say 100,000 views. And that was shocking because this is right when YouTube had first started and we were like, oh, okay. And then it just continued to grow from there. And I think now it's this isn't huge numbers, but for us in little old Portland, Oregon, it's got 500,000 views or something like that. yeah, we felt really cute, 10 years ago to be the first girls in Portland to go viral, if you will. But yeah.
Gosh, I mean, hey girl, get it. I love that the fact that you made your first appearance ever went worldwide and you got so many views and so much exposure in just that one little moment. So I
Yeah, it
kind
was
of
crazy.
love.
And what's crazy about it is that we didn't set out to be drag queens, right? We just wanted to do something different and do this fundraiser. And the next thing you know, boom, 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 we go viral, and it kind of stuck. And here we are 10 years later.
I
Now,
mean,
listen to this. Kimberly Westwood looks like she's been aged for 10 years, but I look the same.
oh my goodness, that's some
Catch that
tea
shade,
right
honey.
there. Well, what was it about drag that attracted you to it and made you want to do it?
For me, it was drag is a self-expression for me. Putting on a dress or fashions and hairs and wigs, and it's a way for me to express myself. And so I was really, really attracted to that. I'm an artist at the core of my soul. So being able to paint on my face and put on glamorous things, it just gives me that expression that I always love.
Yes. I think the power of drag can turn the worst days completely around. And you could be having the worst day where you just like been having shit in traffic, people cussed you out all that day at work. And then the moment you put on that wig and makeup, it all just melts away.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for me, I like to think of drag as like us being superheroes, right? Because like we could check kind of our real lives at the door, and then we turn into these personas, and it's like, yes, let's go take care of the world.
I think it was Rogue Safari that said in her interview that we are technically superheroes because we're all shapeshifters.
Yes, very much that.
So, Kimber, tell us, how did you actually get the fantastic drag name that you have, such as Kimber Shade?
Oh my God, I love it when people ask me this. Okay. So I went through this awful breakup. It was my first love. And I was super, 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 super depressed. And I was like trapped in my house. I was watching Nip Tuck. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. My real name is Henry. And there's a character on there, and her name is Kimber Henry. And so I'm watching this show. I'm super depressed. And Nip Tuck is like visuals galore. It's like lots of drama, everything. So I just loved it, loved it, loved it. My drag mother at the time came over and was like, this is like not healthy. You can't be locked in this house watching Nip Tuck with all of this craziness going on. You can't do that. So she put me in drag, and she was like, I got a way for you to be able to go out without anybody asking you about your relationship. Nobody's gonna care. So she put me in drag. And this is after, of course, with Kimberly Westwood. So she put me in drag, and we went out, and nobody asked me about what was going on in my real life. So kind of going back to what we talked about, how it's like putting on a whole different persona. Nobody asked me about what was going on in my real life. And they just like kept saying, oh my God, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. And at the time, I was just known for blonde, honey. So I was like, let me just take Kimber's name and be a blonde bombshell. So that's where that part of the name came from. And the shade part of it is that, you know what throwing shade is. It's like a way to kind of like protect yourself, or it's a way to, go back and forth and banter with people. And I happen to do that really naturally. So I was like, let me just take that too. So you got Kimber, like the blow up doll and like the gun. And then you got Shade, like under the tree, because I'm throwing it.
Yes, girl, that's a great way to pick a name. And, I don't
You mean being depressed and watching a show?
Well, but like having meaning behind it. And you know what, girl?
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with being depressed, because I think I was working in oh my God, I'm really about to spill too much tea about myself. I was working as a dishwasher back in Medford, Oregon.
I love it.
And that was when I picked my name. And it was like one of the darkest moments for me. And it's like, what blah, 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 what do I do? And then Bitchcock, just like in shining auras, came in my mind.
They say that's how it happens.
Well, drag is a little magic. Gotta say. Now, speaking of characters, Miss Kimber, tell us about the drag character that is Kimber Shade.
Okay, so Kimber Shade is the girl next door who gets herself into sticky situations and fights her way out.
Ooh, that sounds real titillating. Tell me
Yeah,
more.
I like to think of myself as kind of like a ditzy blonde mixed with what's that girl from Scooby Doo with the glasses? Velma.
Velma!
Yeah. So I'm real smart and cunning, but then I'm also really pretty and dumb.
Oh my goodness. I think we were chatting last night. We almost had a little bit of a reference of Mean Girls. And we were almost saying, like, you kind of sometimes feel like Regina George, and you're like, are you more of a Gretchen? I'm like, no, bitch, I'm more of a Karen, because I'm like, oh my God, it's a fire truck. Yeah.
My favorite part of that movie is when she goes up to the thing and she has the K on backwards. Oh, so good.
It's
Very
making me
that.
want to watch Mean Girls right now. I love it. Now, what is your personality like in drag? And Kimber, do you feel like there's a personality change from everyday life to when you put the hair and makeup on?
I would say probably not a personality change. I'm a firecracker, a ball of fun always. So for me, what drag does is it kind of just like gives a visual for everyone else to my personality, if that makes sense. So for me, for a lot of people, drag is kind of like this shield and this armor that they put on and they become more confident. I'm already a really confident person, and that doesn't mean that I don't have insecurities, but I am really confident naturally. And so for me, drag puts this like feminine visual to what you already know.
Oh, I love that. A bitch that has the confidence without the armor. Bitch!
Yeah,
I
girl,
can
I'm
study
fierce.
that. Well, I love it. Now, with the last name Shade, I have to ask, is Kimber more of a sweet and adorable queen, or is she shady?
So it depends on the circumstance, because I can be really nice, but I can also cut your throat. Whatever you need. No, for me, I am a real person. I'm a real being, right? So whether I'm Henry or whether I'm Kimber, I'm always going to give you somebody who fights for the underdog. So a lot of times that has given me this reputation of being the loud girl or being, in people's face. But, deep down inside, I'm a damsel in distress, honey. I'm just like that little doe, that female deer, honey. That's it.
Oh my goodness. Now, how would you describe Kimber in just 3 words?
Caca cuckoo crazy.
Girl, come on, you can be better than that.
Okay, so 3 words. Resilient, talented, and humble.
Humble, yes, queen, a little humble girl. Well,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. Now, what can we expect from a Kimber Shade performance?
I would say you definitely want to buckle your seatbelts before, because it's going to be a bumpy ride if Kimber Shade hits the stage.
Yeah.
I like high energy performances. I like speaking a message. I like doing live. I like doing backflips. I like just making the crowd want to stand on their feet and give me their dollar. You know what I mean? Like, if they've taken the time to buy a ticket, I'm going to take the time to wow them. So that's what you can expect if ever I'm on the bill.
Yes, Queen. Now, you mentioned that you're known for that high energy dancing and some of those tricks. Now, I have to ask, because I've seen some of you girls doing the high kicks, jumping up and doing the drops and dropping directly on your knees, sometimes in the back alley. But have you ever actually hurt yourself on stage doing some of these crazy things?
You know what? Knock on wood, I have not, because I'm a trained gymnast, so I definitely don't do something crazy unless I know I'm going to land it. Now, with that said, I pray that it never happens. About the craziest, the most of an accident I've had is I've definitely fallen on stage, which sucks. But it's all about how you play it off and, make it look like it was supposed to happen and keep it moving.
Oh, girl, I remember one time I was doing, I think it was like Pity Party by Melanie Martinez, and I was trying to do a dramatic moment, so there was a stool right there, and I said, I'm going to kick the stool over. And I remember kicking the stool, and it fell, and I remember my foot hurt a little more than it should have. And I did my number, and I get it, and I come backstage, and I'm like, I need to take my heel off. I take my shoe off, and the whole dressing room gasped, and like, oh my God! Because there's a baseball now growing out of the top of my foot, basically, and it's instantly swelled up.
Oh
And
my
everyone's like,
God.
you need to go to the hospital. Oh my God, you need to like go to the hospital right now. And I'm like, no, I don't. I have another number to do. So you need to help squeeze me into those boots, and we need to pretend I'm not hurt for another 20 minutes.
Way to go, girl. Yes.
Bitch, it's what you do. I mean, I think especially with drag, the show must always go on.
That is one thing that I learned that because I had training in theater, and that's that's what I love about performing, is that no matter what, the music is still going and you still got a crowd watching you. So I respect queens that can absolutely do that. And I absolutely love those moments when you just gotta push through. Cause I think that right there is where amazing drag comes from.
Absolutely. And honestly, if you were to break in that moment, it would literally break. Why not take advantage of that superhero moment and say, I'm not hurt. I'm fine.
Yes. AKA milk it.
Yeah. If I go on stage and get another $50 just from tips and then limp it around and be like, oh, I hurt myself. Give me your money.
There it is.
You're well, so funny. Honey, speaking of music, what kind of music do you tend to be attracted to for one of your performances?
Ooh, that's the easy one. Nicki Minaj, anything. I like female rappers like a lot. Like I think that they're amazing. And actually, I'm gonna go back. If you had to ask me what my drag persona is now, I'm a female rapper. I just decided that right here on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, honey. So yes. I tend to listen to a lot of Nicki Minaj. I'm loving Megan Thee Stallion right now. Of course, Cardi B, Tink. I love old school Lauryn Hill. Just anything that kind of has like that lyricism to it. I really like being able to project that on stage, and specifically because we don't have a lot of hip hop performers here, so it kind of lets me stand out as well.
I get that. I think that's a great way to basically stand out. We have a performer out here in Eugene. They sing live, but they tend to actually rap live, and it's the amazing one and only Slutasia, which we all know.
I love Slutasia.
I do too. In fact, do you want to know a secret?
Ooh, secrets.
So we did a little bit of a little raffle, and at the end of the month, I'm bringing Slutasia back as a past guest to interview me, Maliena Bitchcock, for an episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock.
Cue the applause.
Yeah. Now, speaking of applause, tell us a little bit, how do you feel like your personality reflects through your performances?
Oh, it's all the same. High energy. Like, okay, so I'm a very morning person, and that's how I would describe myself. I'm actually an all-day person. I love just being high energy, positive, in your face. Yes, 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 yes. So somebody told me a long time ago, they were like, in your performances, they're really great, but you just have to like wait for like 30 seconds. Cause like when I first started performing, the minute the music came on, I'd be like high kicks, bucks, and twirls and all of this. And they were like, wait, just slow down and let them see your makeup first and then do all of that. So I've learned a little bit more poise on stage. and to let everybody see what I've, you know, really done. And then I go in with the high kicks, the bucks and twirls and all of that. So I have a formula in my head for my performances. It usually goes a monologue, it goes into a live rap, it goes into another monologue, and then I will usually end off with a lip sync where I just, since I'm not holding a mic, I can do whatever I want as far as dancing.
Oh my goodness. I don't understand how you kids these days can dance around the stage with your cinchers and your pads. This is why I tend to like just humor. You can just kind of stand there and act stupid and people will hand you money. Like, but
well, don't get it twisted. I'm no spring chicken. You know, I just turned about 16, honey. Not kidding. I am, you know, 32 years old, so that's no excuse, honey. You about 32 as well, so you can be out here bucking and twirling with the rest of us.
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm actually 36, but keep telling me how young I look.
Yes.
Well, what do you want an audience member to take away from one of your performances?
First and foremost, I'm always there for the audience. I put a lot of energy into planning out the audience reaction. So I hope that from every one of my performances, people take away energy, right? I do things that are provocative because I want them to cause you an emotion, whether that's disgust, whether that's you loved it. I want you to feel something. So hopefully when people, after they've seen me, hopefully they're grasping for air and they're like, oh my God, I love that. But if not, hopefully it causes them to even just have a conversation about the topic that I'm performing about.
I get that. And you know, I think what really makes an audience have fun is, yes, the high energy, yes, the comedy, but also something that can make them think. And, you know, sometimes I see the best responses from more of those passionate performances. Not saying that performers don't put passion in everything they do, but sometimes those performances where they're putting all their emotion into it, all of their life. And sometimes it has that message, like, you're beautiful the way you are, and stuff like that. And it leaves, sometimes it'll resonate with the audience. Like, I did a performance years ago to a burlesque routine, and I think it was like 5 years later, I had someone come up to me here in Eugene and tell me how that changed their life. And they ended up like dropping 120 pounds because it gave them the confidence. And it's like, wait, you got all that from my performance?
I love, 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 love that. Okay, so with the opposite of that, let me just say one of my favorite, I only perform a ballad one time of year, and it's always at the Sweethearts Ball, which I don't know if you know, the Sweethearts organization is a 501c3 in Portland area that raises money for other local charities. It's been around for 30 years. It's an amazing organization. But anyways, I always perform a ballad at the Sweethearts Ball because I was the former sweetheart, number 27. Flawless was number 29. Sativa was number 31, I believe. So I always perform Listen from Beyonce. And for me, that song means a lot about believing in who I am and loving myself, right? So I love getting up in a gorgeous gown, standing in one place and just delivering it. And the first time that I performed that, I got people that came up to me that were just like, oh my God, it was amazing. And I was like, I didn't do anything. I stood in one place. But after I watched it back, I emoted so much on the stage that it was like, it was so entertaining. So I totally feel you where you're coming from, that it doesn't always have to be high kicks and bucks and twirls and splits and dips to get a message across.
Well, but you know, it doesn't hurt sometimes. Sometimes when you drop, you could like be serving a very inspirational message while flying through the air and landing on your pussy.
You know who's really good at that? And you need to get him on this episode is Isaiah Esquire. Have you ever heard of him?
Oh, honey, have I? I used to travel with the Caravan of Glam, and I love me some Isaiah.
Yes, ma'am. Isaiah is classic for that. He knows how to do that to you.
Oh my goodness. Now, what would you say makes your performance style unique from maybe other queens?
Wow, that's a loaded question. So The fact that I have charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. No, I think that the reason why I stand out in performance from other queens is because my viewpoint is very different. I'm a Black gay man. I choose songs that are different, and then also the energy level is just really different. It's almost like I demand that everyone stand up when I come out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's just as different. It's like when Kimber comes to town, it's gonna be a circus. Okay. Now every show is great. We got our Broadway shows, we got our cinema movie theaters, and then we got our fucking circus, honey. So
Hey,
I think
girl, I love it. As
I
long
like
as there's room for a clown like me.
absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of people I will say tend to judge me, is that they don't. I love drag. I don't know if I can say that. I love simple drag, where it's just like a wig and a dress. I love the beauty queens. I love the body queens. I love the weirdos. I love everything in between. So for me, it's like, I'm not, when I say why I'm different, it's no disrespect to anybody else. It's just letting you know why I am unique on this playing field.
Absolutely. And honestly, we're all unique in our own way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no shame to be unique from others. It means
Yeah, but
you're
remember I said I was
individual.
humble too.
Oh, well, honey, you're definitely humble. Look at that huge thing. Now, tell us a little bit about your drag style and what kind of looks we can expect from Kimber Shade.
Okay, great. So my drag style is always evolving. At first, when I first started out, I was a really off the rack girl. I love shopping at Forever 21 because you could piece some stuff together and make it work, honey.
Girl, this is Forever 21 right here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I would say if I had to like nail it down and say who I am, I would say a craft queen. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have the budget that Kimberly Michelle Westwood does, but I stand next to her in those damn pictures, okay?
No one has the resources, money, or costumes that Kimberly Michelle Westwood has.
That bitch is a beast. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm telling you, and I've been saying this to her forever. She shouldn't be called Kimberly Michelle Westwood. She should be called Kimberly Michelle Westworld, because nothing that she's not human. She's a robot. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. And I've known this girl for 10 years, right? So what's nuts is her drag closet just keeps getting fucking bigger. Like, it's fucking nuts. This collection that this girl has is no joke. And I'm done talking about Kimberly Westwood. She's amazing.
Oh my goodness. And don't worry, we'll dive more into your relationship with that bitch, because I do know that you grew up in the drag scene together.
We absolutely
we'll
did.
More. So Kimber, how would you just describe your drag aesthetic? I know you kind of said that you like to embody beauty and power.
So I would say my drag aesthetic is like a perfect mix of, I don't know another word, because this is the word that we used to use. So please don't POC police don't come after me, but gender fuck. So it's the perfect expression of, is it a man? Is it a woman? Who are they? What are they about? So I love pushing that idea of, am I a drag queen? Am I a woman? Am I a man? What do I do? So I think that my aesthetic always really revolves around that, and the decisions that I make always, there's some little quirkiness to it. Like, I never really do boobs, and I'm not really into hip pads. I like showing my real body. I have a man body. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I ever want to get pumped or any of that. No disrespect to the girls that do, but I kind of fall on that in-between spectrum all the time.
I love that. And I think the proper term, just so you know, is gender fluid.
Fluid. Okay, yeah, I knew that.
But I love that. I love people that play with the idea of gender, because I think it's that moment where we're born and we're growing up. It's imprinted into us what is feminine and what is masculine. There's nothing really out there that says dresses are for women, pants are for boys. It's this weird constructive thing that society came up with, and then printed and pretty much brainwashed everyone, thinking
Amen.
you have to be this way if you're a boy, you have to be this way if you're a girl. But it's so much fun when you break the rules, isn't it?
Exactly. And when you go in and out of those lines and you blur them, blurred lines, honey, we love that.
Yes. Now, Kimber, how do you feel like your drag has evolved through the years?
Definitely. So for me, drag has always been something where I have to have a message and I have to be, standing for something. So I think for me over the years, I've gotten a lot more community service oriented, and I've gotten a lot more I've become more of an activist. At first it was about glamour and it was about beauty, and now it's about, because I think that's really important.
Okay, absolutely, I get that. And I think more queens should focus on the community, because we have to think about this. We have all these people that come out to support us and say they're our fans, they love us, who we are as queens, and then we get paid for that to basically be worshipped. So it only seems right to take that same power, that same energy, and give it back into the community, because honestly, it'll make you feel just as good than that wad of dollar bills to know that you're making differences throughout your community.
If not better. I think that I really love helping people, and so I get such a high off of just being able to, help somebody, or find them the resources, whatever it may be. I think that being able to stick my neck out there for somebody else is just so rewarding for myself.
Absolutely, baby. Now, are there any pop icons, characters, or even strong women who've helped influence and inspire the drag character you are today?
Absolutely. I'm a Marilyn Monroe impersonator.
Really? Oh my God, you look at her.
Yeah, no, you're giving me a lot of Marilyn Monroe right now. But as far as like pop icons, my absolute sister of the world is Rihanna. We're actually born on the same day, same time, same year. I think that we were separated at birth. Can't you tell?
I was going to say, you are giving me so much Rihanna, and I think you might be her twin sister.
Thank you very much. I've heard that all my life. So thank you.
Oh my God. Now, the question that we're all wondering is, can you sing like her?
Absolutely not. And I can't dance like her either.
Oh my goodness. Come on, girl. Now, Rihanna, I mean, she has some great music, but are there any like maybe comic book characters or maybe even like TV characters who've helped inspire you also?
So absolutely, hands down, my favorite character, X-Men Storm, honey. This girl can control the motherfucking weather. Do you understand that you can control people's moods with the weather as well? Oh, I love it. And let me just say this, it would be sunshine and rainbows all the time.
Oh my gosh. I think that is probably one of the most iconic powers all throughout the X-Men, is to basically be able to control the weather, but not just control the weather. When you lose, like maybe we have a mental breakdown, a fucking hurricane's gonna happen. And it's like, girl, I can't think of any better metaphor than having a mental breakdown and then having the world literally fall apart around you.
Yeah. So, I mean, is that me being narcissistic? I don't know. I just love her.
I think we're allowed to be a little narcissistic. Now, I know we've talked about this a little bit already, but we're going to talk about a little more just because it's fun and I like to get shady once in a while. You grew up with the one and only Kimberly Michelle Westwood when you grew up within the drag scene. And back then, they all knew her as Kim Chi. But a little birdie told me that you didn't just grow up with her, you actually taught her how to do her makeup.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Actually, I don't know who you're talking about. I've never heard of this girl before.
Who has?
I'm just kidding. Okay, so way back when, years and years and years ago, my drag mother would do our faces, and she would, like, primp and proper and all of that kind of stuff for us. And that's how we would go out and drag. And then one day my drag mother left and left us high and dry, and we had to figure it out on our own. So I remembered all of the techniques and things, and I taught what I knew to Kimberly Westwood. This bitch grew into the monster that she is. So I'm not responsible for anything other than teaching her how to use a brush.
Well, then I was going to say, are you responsible for how beautiful she is?
I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
True. I mean, but I will say, I mean, she had to be a fun queen, especially seeing back in the day, because please, I'm begging you, tell me she wasn't as pretty back then as she is now. Tell me she was a little busted, just a little.
So you can definitely go on YouTube and see lots of our beginning videos, the Drag Girls Club. I will say this. We thought we were really pretty. But when I look at photos, I'm like, damn, what the hell? The best part about growing up in drag with Kimberly Westwood is the fact of how supportive she is. Over the years, she has always been that friend that will build you up, that will tell you that you're ugly when you are, or that, you know what I mean? She keeps it real. But that's why I enjoy being around her. That's why I enjoy, you know, making art with her, is because she also wants to help. She doesn't want to just look the prettiest in the room, even though most of the time she is. She also wants there to be other people on her level. So I really resonate with the fact that she's so giving as well as beautiful. And I think that that's like one of the most humble things in the whole world, is you also have to look, you can look gorgeous, but you also have to be down to earth, if that makes any sense. So I also try to keep to have those qualities as well.
No, I totally get that. And Kimberly is definitely one of those people that you look at her and she's like, oh my God, she is just drop dead beautiful. She must be a raging bitch. And then you go up and talk to her and she is like the kindest, fucking most humble person. Well, less humble than you, of course, but you know, very humble person, and she's fun to be around. And you know, I was very lucky enough to be Empress while she was, and I for sure, and she knows this already, so it's not too shady to say this, is I thought the whole time when we were both done being Empresses, she'd be like, okay, bye, have fun, good luck, good fun. But no, this bitch still fucking texts me throughout the week, even through quarantine. This whore will be like, are you doing okay? I'm thinking about you. But like, girl.
It's so stupid how genuine and nice she is.
I love it. And that's why she's one of my favorite queens out there. Now, speaking of favorite queens, you mentioned to me you had a drag mother. Who was your drag mother?
So my drag mother, her name was Karma, cunt with a K. And yeah.
Oh my God, I know Karma.
That's my drag mom.
Yeah.
So my name is Kimber K, Kimber Cunt, but I don't say cunt because it's not really allowed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my drag mom. And since you know her, you know that she is the embodiment of a woman. Like, and we were talking about this earlier, and I was saying how, like, when I first started doing drag, it was about the characterization of a woman. It was about looking like a woman. It was about feeling like a woman, all that sort of stuff. And Karma really taught me all of that. And like, just even the style of how you paint your face and how soft it is and all of those things, that's like really where that comes from for me.
Well, you know, that's fabulous. And I met Miss Karma Cunt. Something hopefully I won't get killed or sued for telling people this is she grew up in Southern Oregon just like me out in Medford, and I was like really good friends with her sister. And basically, I got to know Karma when she came down for Caravan of Glam. It was, and I just kind of got to know her, and it was fun to know her. She came down, we went out to the bar, flirted with boys, and to find out that's your drag mother, that kind of makes sense, actually.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Now, with that said, you're also a drag mother yourself. Tell me a little bit about that and about some of your children.
So I have several different drag children. I got Juicy Shade. She don't like to claim me, but that's my drag daughter. I got Flawless Shade. She's one of my faves. You might have heard of her.
Wait, you mean you're telling me the one and only international superstar Flawless Shade is your daughter?
Yes, ma'am, honey, in the flesh. And it's
How
crazy
did you
too.
make that happen?
Immaculate conception, because I am 5'4" and this bitch is a behemoth 6'8" girl. So I don't know how it worked out, but here she is. But no, on a serious note, I met Flawless years and years and years and years ago. And one night I was hosting at Silverado's, which is a strip club here in Portland, Oregon. I was hosting, and it was a costume contest. And here stumbles in Flawless with her friend, and it was like raining that night or something. I always say this because the image that I always remember is like her hair was wet, and she walked in, and she was like, "I'm here." And I just instantly was like, "Oh my goodness, I love you. You need to get on stage." So I asked her to come up on stage for the costume contest, and her friend, the Ratchet Girls, that's what I called them. Yeah, they got up and they did their thing, yeah. And they didn't win. They didn't even get third place, but what it did show me is that Flawless has so much confidence. So that night when I got done with work, 2:30 in the morning, I went over to Flawless's house. I taught her what I knew about makeup, and I painted her face. I then took my bag and I dumped it out on the floor, and I gave her half of my makeup. And that moment is really special and really important, because when you see people that have potential, it's really important to help them, because look at what Flawless grew into. At the time, she was going through her own struggles, and makeup's expensive. So it wasn't like she was just going to be able to go out there and get it. And I recognized that I knew that she had the potential and that she was going to really use it. So I taught her what I knew, and she taught herself everything else. So I gave her the tools, and she taught herself how to get there. And what I love telling that story, and I love even just being involved in her journey, because she has grown so much in such a little period of time, and I love being able to say that I helped her do that.
And I really love that, because the idea that you literally gave her your makeup, I mean, that's so beautiful, because it's like almost the drag idea of giving them the shirt off your own back, saying you don't have the makeup, well, let me give you mine, because I can afford to replace what I have. And I think that's, girl, you are such a role model, and I love hearing that kind of thing, because we need more of that within the drag community.
I appreciate that. And overall, I just wanted to, when I started drag, I started with Kimberly Michelle Westwood. And again, I didn't have a job. I couldn't afford the makeup. And so I would go over to her house and I would use her makeup, or she would help me. And even though I had the skills, she had the tools. So us working together was how we got here. And so every decision that I make with drag going forward from that moment was about helping the next girl that came after me. And Flawless is that girl. And so, and even in our drag family, we always make sure that everyone's taken care of, and that, we help the underdogs, if that makes sense.
No, and I think that's very admirable, because that kind of behavior is going to be able to uplift us and build us into a stronger community, where we're performers who want to be around each other and want to work with each other. And I think there needs to be more of that. Now, as a drag mother, what kind of things do you try to instill in all your children?
Individuality. Be yourself. I forgot one of my drag daughters, Hot Pink Shade. She's gonna be so mad that I didn't say her name in the lineup. But anyways, I didn't forget about you, baby. But anyways, I try to instill individuality, and knowing that just because someone else is good at what they do doesn't mean that you're not great either. I think that especially with Flawless, like, people are always like, what's it like having her as a drag daughter? And I'm like, amazing. She's fucking great. Like, she proves that my family is legit as fuck every time she comes out, because it doesn't matter that we're two different types of queens. We never have to have a conversation about who's better. You know what I mean? We're both great. We're both amazing. Now let's help each other be the best in our lanes. And yes, we're not in the same lane, but we're going in the same direction. And that's what is really important. So yeah, I hope I answered that question. I just started rambling.
It's all right. I do that too, especially when I smoke the devil's lettuce.
Girl, that's what happened to me.
Oregon. It just does crazy things for us. Now, what does being a drag mother mean to you? And how does having a drag family feel important to you?
So I grew up in the Escape nightclub. That was like the gay scene, right? And so a drag family for me is, a drag family for me is super important because after 18 years old, RuPaul always says we get to choose our family. So I feel like if somebody chooses to be in my drag family, it's about loyalty, it's about communication, it's about really making sure that that person is getting what they need from you, whether that's, you know, some people's drag family, they need things. They need to learn how to be a drag queen, that sort of shit. Some people need assistance with housing, you know, just whatever it is just being that person, for being there for that person. And so just with me and Flawless and my other drag children, it's just about loyalty, and it's about communication and knowing our limits and our boundaries and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Now, like a lot of other queens, you grew up in the system and you faced your challenges. And one of those challenges is bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I think we all see within the drag community. Tell me a little bit about some of the bullying you see happening within the drag community.
So for me, this goes back to how I instill individuality into my drag children. I think that as human beings, we're afraid of what's different. And I've seen a lot, even though Portland is the weird capital, I've seen a lot of bullying that goes on when somebody is different or when something is new that people aren't used to. And so that's why I always try to stand up for the underdog. I'm always the loudest person in the room. I'm always calling things out. And I'm also imperfect and I make mistakes. As you can see with this, I was like, I don't even know what the word is. And that's okay. And knowing when to say, I don't know is okay. However, the bullying that exists is because people are different. And I think that there needs to be a lot more communication. I've also seen, you know, when we first started on the drag scene, me and Kimberly Westwood, there was a big gap. There wasn't a lot of younger queens, and that's because, you know, the atmosphere was kind of like really shady and dramatic, and there wasn't really any room for us as newer queens, and we didn't fit the mold and the standard of what the other queens thought, so we weren't really allowed at the table, right? So,
Right.
you know, my drag career has been about just being different and accepting other people's differences as well.
Absolutely. Now, what advice would you give any queens or maybe just anyone that faces being bullied, especially within the drag scene?
Do not look left. Do not look right. Keep your eyes straight forward. Stay focused on the goal. A lot of times I've always tell people, like, if they're running for a pageant or if there's some goal that they want, I say write it down. And every time you have a moment of doubt, you go back and you read that and you remind yourself why you're here and what you're doing. Because that's going to be the thing that gets you through the hard circumstance. Life is fucking hard, man. It is so difficult. But if you can remind yourself why you're here, what your goal is, that is the thing that'll help you push through to get your goal.
Yeah.
And then anything that comes along to the left or the right won't matter because we're staying focused on what the main objective is.
Great advice there, Miss Thing. Now, you have done some amazing things all throughout your drag career. One of them you already mentioned, but I do want to talk about a little more, is you actually reigned as Miss Sweetheart 2015-2016. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so that's like one of my, you know, best experiences of my life, winning that title. So it's a competition where you sell raffle tickets for charity and the person who sells the most raffle tickets wins. At the time when I was running, I was homeless. I didn't really have the best reputation in the community. And so a lot of people didn't think I even had a chance in the competition. Well, lo and behold, I had a plan. I stayed focused. I didn't look left and right. I went with what I knew and I believed in myself. And I smashed the competition. I won. Now, when you win the Sweetheart, you also become the face of this organization. So for an entire year, I had a board of directors behind me that were willing to go the extra mile, willing to do different things to raise a lot of money for charity. We broke all sorts of records. I had all sorts of shows, all sorts of events for the community. And we were able to bring visibility to this organization that, you know, had kind of lost its way in a sense. So one of the best times in my life, the amount of people that I met, the amount of just awesome organizations that I was able to be involved with because of it, I'll never forget it.
I think that's absolutely wonderful, especially when you find an organization that accepts you for who you are, that you feel comfortable within. So tell me a little bit, what did being Miss Sweetheart actually mean to you as a queen?
This is a really, really great question. Not a lot of people ask this question. I think that at first, winning the title was me proving a point. And then with every sweetheart, there comes a period in time where you realize that it's bigger than you. So having the sweetheart title is not just about what you were able to prove, but it's also how you were able to continue the legacy. So I realized that halfway through my year that I had 26 other sisters that I was expected to make proud. And so, ooh, it makes me emotional.
I hear you.
It's
You know,
important. That sisterhood is super important. And so being a sweetheart gave me a place in history, and it means a lot to me because I'm expected to uphold the standard, but then also teach the next girl the standard. So it's moving to be a part of something that is so special.
and, you know, it's lovely and lovely. It's amazing to be part of a legacy, and especially a legacy that's doing such a long-winded thing of amazing things for the community. And the Sweethearts, I mean, how many years have you all been around?
So me and the sweethearts are the same age. So 32 years. This February we will be celebrating 33 years, and that's incredible, especially if you think about like the history of Portland and what it's had to deal with and go through it, and to have a gay organization to stand next to the ISRC for about half the amount of time, but just for that longevity, it's crazy for the history of Portland.
Absolutely. Now, Kimber, tell us a little bit why it's important to you to still be involved with this organization, even if you're no longer reigning as a title holder.
Yeah, so the organization itself is all about helping the community and then also helping, you know, other organizations. So since I was the sweetheart almost 5 years ago, I've still served on the board in some capacity 3 out of the 5 years. And it's just because I kind of found my tribe, if that makes sense. Like the sweethearts are people who just like helping others and helping the underdog and making sure that people are supported. So it's always an easy decision when they call on me to do something. And then it's also always an easy decision when they need more from me, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. You know, they're different organizations, but they're similar to what they do. And I was Empress, and when you were Empress, you really just have to focus on taking care of your community. You have to have open ears. You have to be able to create safe space. So to work with an organization that's literally having such an important impact to your community, raising money for different organizations that would normally struggle getting that money, making awareness, letting people know that there are safe spaces for you to go out there and just be yourself. I think that's truly beautiful, especially with the Sweethearts, because you guys, especially within like the last 5 years where I've been acknowledgeable of you guys have created nothing but a loving, safe, and respectful space. And your performers, as unique as they are to themselves, they still hold themselves to this fabulous and kind standard.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And just out of respect for that sisterhood, I have to mention the current reigning sweethearts, Miss Rogue Safari, Miss Carly Phoenix. She is the first Duchess title. So she is the first non-binary title. Yes.
Yes.
And that's something that the Sweethearts organization, through my legacy, was able to carry on. I just want to touch on that for a second. One of the last things that I asked as Miss Sweetheart was to create this title for the trans and the non-binary people in our city. And so it's crazy that in this organization that they still heard me, even though it literally was the last thing that I asked. And they weren't able to fulfill it during my year, but they kept through the years. They kept bringing it up. And Sativa was actually one of the sweethearts that really, really championed and pioneered the fulfillment of my legacy. So shout out to Sativa as well. And then also our current Mr. Sweetheart, his name is Keith Scott. So what a great organization. If you don't know about them, you just absolutely have to Google them.
Oh my goodness. It's so great to hear about and learn a little more about the organization because, you hear about the title holders, but you don't know much about the organization. So it's nice to get a little bit of background with it. Now, what does being a title holder mean to you?
So it's more than just, like we said earlier, it's more than the glitz and glam. It's about helping the underdog. It's about using your voice. It's about using your platform. I always say this: stand up, act up, fight back. And if you're doing anything else, you're taking up too much space for the next girl. Drag, you have to have a message every time, in my opinion. Or else you're just doing it for yourself, and that's not what drag is. Drag is an aesthetic art that is for an audience and other people. So when you have the microphone and you have the spotlight on you, make sure that you're projecting a message that is beneficial for the entire community.
Absolutely. I love that. As I've said in some other episodes, we're basically cheerleaders for the queer community. So we need to be creating a positive and happy space for everyone and not just for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Now, as you kind of mentioned, you definitely seem like a queen that does very much care about your community and cares about everyone around you succeeding alongside yourself.
Absolutely.
Why is it so important for you to support the underdog or maybe even those upcoming queens that maybe some of the other people snub?
Again, it has to do with my experience and how I felt like I was really bullied in the community at first. I have to bring this up, and this is not a negative thing, but when we first started doing drag, people would always say to Kimberly Westwood, "Wow, you're amazing, you're beautiful," and then they would look at me and go, "Well, what's wrong with you?"
What?
Yeah, so for me, it's about making sure that no other queen ever feels like that. We're all beautiful, we can all get to that level, and we can all rise to that occasion. So for me, it's about making sure that no other queen ever felt like I did. And that's why I fight so hard. That's why I champion Flawless, and I'm there to support her, and I'm always there screaming at every one of her shows. That's why whenever there's a new drag queen that hits the scene, I really try to support them, and I try to, even if they're quirky and they're not there yet, I still try to champion and yell and scream for them, because not a lot of people are, because that's important to me.
I hear that, and it makes me feel something deep inside myself. It might be an emotion, it might be gas, I'm not sure. But, I love that because there's so many people, especially with the older crowd, and let's just get real for a minute, that they're so concerned about still being relevant, especially if there's someone who's been on the scene a long time and they see these younger, fresher queens doing things they may not do. And sometimes it's hard for them to think I'm going to support them and uplift them to my level because they're scared that if they do that, it's going to somehow make them irrelevant. But it's not true. The thing is, we can all fit at the same level, and we can all shine all the same, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's just something that I think, let's say, our generation is finally realizing and teaching the community.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And, I don't think that because somebody has been doing drag longer than another person that they're on a different level or on a different playing field. So for me, it's about making sure that we all know that, and we all have that knowledge so that everybody can put their best foot forward. One of the things for me in drag and pageants, I'm very competitive as well with my confidence, right? So for me, I like to know that I beat the best. So if I can improve that girl and make sure that she came with her best package and I still won, that's winning. Knowing that you helped that girl, you know what I mean? I've been in downstairs in pageants before where the energy is like nobody wants to talk to each other, and I'm the one that's like, no girl, let's talk. Let me help you. Do you need this? Let me help you, because I want you, when you hit that stage, I don't want any excuse as to why I whooped that ass.
Oh, baby, I love that so many ways. And I consider it kind of like the Bianca Del Rio thing that she said during her seasons. There's no reason not to want to help the queens around you, because I don't want to say you're not really threatened by them, but like you said, if you win, you want to know that you won beating the best of the best. And it makes it so much more fulfilling for you when you do actually get that crown, because you're like, I really fucking worked it and I really deserve that.
I hear that. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, you have been part of so many shows all throughout Portland, and you've even produced a couple of them. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Kimber's Power Hour?
Okay, yes. Kimber's Power Hour. It was a throwback. So the year during my sweetheart's reign, I created a show called Kimber's Power Hour. It was every Friday, or no, it was one Friday a month. It went from 9 to 11. And basically the idea behind the show was that people would come in their different groups, right? Because Portland is kind of known for being very, if you will, cliquish. So my idea was to bring all the cliques together, and each clique would bring their fantastic drag queen, and then every drag queen would get to do one number. Everybody would meet up, have a great time, and then disperse about the city. It was a really, really great show. We raised tons and tons of money, $10,000+ because Silverados also matched the door cover. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we raised money for different organizations. We raised money for different people. And then people also just had a really, really, really great time. It was really, really special.
My goodness, I love that. And how long did that show run?
It went for about 11 months. I even continued it after I stepped down from being a sweetheart. I continued to have the show and raise the money for the next sweetheart as well. So yeah, it had a nice little run, about 11 months.
Well, I love it. I definitely hope that a comeback may happen, maybe virtually or something, because
You never know.
Yes, and I have to say, I've started to fall in love with me some Kimber Shade. I discovered her fairly, recently, but I will say, I actually remembered meeting you, I think last year when I was Empress, and I think it was Portland Coronation, and me and Flawless were both taking a selfie because we're both in pink hair and we were feeling our flawlessness. And I'm like, I want to go smoke some devil's lettuce. And she's like, I got devil's lettuce. We're about to go smoke devil's lettuce. You want to come with us? And I remember she's like, this is my mom. And I'm like, of course, I was like laughing because there's this big old tall Flawless and this cute little short Kimber Shade. I'm like, this is your mom? Did she blow out your vagina or what?
I do remember that. Yes, yes.
So I love it. I think that you are a fierce queen and you're definitely a force to be reckoned with. And I love that you're doing so many shows within the community. Now, speaking of shows, you've also been part of a production company called Beauty Boys out there. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Beauty Boys is a collective of artists and individuals out of Seattle. It's basically a group of people that came together that love art, that love making things.
Oh, bless you.
Oh my God. I tried to sneeze and make that look pretty, but it wasn't coming.
I was gonna say, I don't know how she looks that good after sneezing.
Okay, excuse me. I was trying to hold that in. But anyways, yeah, they're a collective of artists out of Seattle. Everybody knows how to do something different. We have videographers, we have drag queens, we have boy performers, we have non-binary performers, every different type of thing. And so basically we've done events, we've done different shows, different digital performances, that sort of thing. But to wrap it all down in a nutshell, it's a group of people that love art.
I love it. And
Yeah.
you did a virtual Pride Fest for Portland.
I did. So go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no problem. And I was just going to mention, you guys even did a mega performance with the amazing Kimberly Michelle Westwood doing a Beverly Hills performance.
Yes. So that was super fun. It was my first time producing not only the Drag Fest, but I actually got to produce Kimberly Michelle Westwood's video. So that was super, super fun. She's really creative. We already talked about her enough, but So it was just amazing just to be able to capture that a little bit. And it happens to be the 10-year anniversary for our original video that we did. So it was just really special to kind of relive that moment and show people that we still got it, but now look at us. So there's that. And then the actual drag fest itself, I'm all about inclusion, and inclusion means that you get everybody, all different types. So being able to host a drag fest that was captioned and in ASL, we had deaf performers, we had non-binary performers, we had men, women, children, all different colors. It was just amazing. I get amped up talking about it because it was so much fun being able to show people what Portland has to offer.
Oh my goodness, did you ever? I mean, that Petty Page's performance alone with that Betty needs a spanking, I'm just like, oh!
She tore it up. Absolutely tore it up. And I want to give another shout out to all of the performers from the Digital Drag Fest, Portland Fest, because they all stepped it up. We were going through the videos and we're reviewing as a production company, and we were just absolutely shocked at the level of content that we got.
Well, I cannot wait for more of those virtual shows to happen, especially with this day and age with, you know, COVID happening and a lot of us just being trapped at home. We need an outlet. And I will say, especially for wanting to like have an at-home pride and celebrate at least in some manner, it was really nice to just sit there with my phone and kind of like, I'm hanging out with my girls.
Yes, yes, I'm glad you went. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, it's not all sequins and glitter within the drag scene. Sometimes there can be a dark side. Now, what are some of the challenges you've seen within the Portland drag scene?
So I've definitely seen, you know, a lot of different things. I think drag is a challenge in itself because you're working with artists, right? But for me, the effects of drugs and addiction is really huge in Portland. And it's really important that we start telling that story and actually start trying to fix that problem. I think that in the limelight and the fame, it just comes naturally. The alcohol abuse and the drug addiction just comes with that. But I think it's really important for Portland to really take time to start taking care of its entertainers and you know, coming up with solutions to some of the problems that we're seeing with addiction.
Do you feel like there's proper support out there for the people who do want to get the help to try to get their life together and maybe, you know, maybe let go of the drugs and alcohol?
You know, I think there is support out there, but I think that we always can be doing a little bit of a better job, right? I think that there can be more resources. We can talk about more resources. But then I also think that, as in the case of mental health, I think that it's a conversation that people are afraid to have. And I think that it's time that we need to start having this conversation and saying that we need to do better and take care of people, you know? And a lot of times I think that, like with mental health, people forget that the person who is an addict can't control that. So yeah, lots of different things.
No, and I'm sitting here getting emotional because I understand, especially the mental health aspect, because I've suffered from mental illness all my life. And I think right now with COVID, and not just COVID, everything happening in the world, it has people on edge. It has people doubting themselves. It has people really feeling the most vulnerable they probably have in years. And it's hard because a lot of us, we have relationships, but those are the back room of the dressing room while we're getting ready. And sometimes you realize, especially as, at least for me, as a drag performer, you're like, God, all my friends are drag queens or at least performers. And it's like, with not being able to see them, it's heavily impacting my mental health and my mental stability, because it's like, I realized how much of my social life came with my drag.
Yeah, I totally feel you. Excuse me, sorry, I got a phone call. I totally feel you. What's nuts is that we're all going through it. So I thank you so much for sharing that. I'm also going through it. I realized that I don't go out and drag that often. I probably go out like once a month. I'm not like a regular schmegular girl, but even just going out once a month, I didn't realize how much that mattered, and I didn't realize how much that social interaction really did matter for me. So I'm right there with you, and I appreciate you for sharing. And yeah, like I said, I think that's one of the things that we just need to start talking about, and we need to start offering support groups, meetups, even if it's like a Zoom chat, and you know, we just like everybody drops in and says, hey, we're okay, I see you, you're doing good. I think that we really need to address things like that.
Absolutely. And I would definitely love to see more out there, not just in Portland, Eugene, or in Oregon, just everywhere. More queer spaces for people who are dealing with those kind of either mental illnesses or drug and alcohol addiction. Because let's be very honest, not always do we feel comfortable talking about our deepest, darkest issues around people who may not fully understand what we're going through. So it's kind of easier to talk to other queer people because they understand the extra struggle we've had to go through life.
Totally.
So I do want to thank you for talking about that for a minute, because like you said, it's a tough subject, and it's something that a lot of us don't always feel comfortable talking about, but it is something that's out there, and those people who are dealing with those issues do need to know that there are a helping hand out there willing to uplift them and give them the resources to help them.
Absolutely. And I always say this too, like, I might not have the resources, but I'll go find somebody that does. You know what I mean? Like, in no way am I a drug counselor. In no way am I, you know, do I have the qualifications to handle, you know, mental struggles, but I do know somebody that does, you know what I mean? Or I'll find somebody, and there's always a way out of the solution. So if anybody out there needs, just give me a call.
No, I love that. And that's truly beautiful, because again, this is what we should be doing to support one another as community members. Because if I'm having a hard time, you're having a hard time, do what you can to uplift each other to that same level. So maybe it's just a little easier for both of us, right?
Absolutely.
So, love, now, throughout Portland, we have tons of legendary queens that you have worked with. Are there any queens out there that you've started to really look up to, especially with the current drag scene?
So a lot of the new drag queens, I'm loving these girls. Bougie Cherry, I have gone on record to say that she is one of my favorite, most creative, talented, amazing people ever. I love her. As far as activism goes, Courtney Capri Dove is one of my just all-time favorite drag queens. She really knows how, well, she's not only a drag queen, she's also a trans woman, but she really knows how to use her voice in a way that makes people move. So I really love that. Who else do I admire? Just basically any business-minded, oriented. I love, a lot of people inspire me.
Yes, well, get it, girl. I love that. Now, these, again, are rough times, as we kind of mentioned, and, you know, we have a lot going on in the world. Now, there's a lot of changes that need to be done, especially within our community, especially when it comes towards the subject of the Black Lives Matter movement. I did kind of want to touch base on that, just because it is an important movement, and it is something that isn't just going to go away. It's something that we're going to have to continually fight for. So is there anything you would like to say on that?
For me, it's simple. The men who murdered Breonna Taylor are still walking free while she doesn't get to make decisions. Breonna Taylor was an unarmed woman who had the same rights as everyone else. It is so crucial at this time to do the research, to figure it out, and to find out what everything is about. And that's mainly just what I want to say. Take the time to research who Breonna Taylor is. Take the time to use your platform, whatever you're doing, to bring light to this message.
I love that. And, you know, I definitely agree. Here at Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, we with Solidarity have been supporting Black Lives Matter. We've been supporting links where you can support the bail fund going out in Portland. You can support the George Floyd Memorial Fund. If you do have any other links that will support the cause, please pass them my way. I want to do anything possible to really help with this cause.
Absolutely. One of them that we can mention is the Black Resilience Fund done by Cameron Whitten. They've raised over $1 million in the last couple of months just to give back to the Black people in the Portland area. And I think that that is just super, super fantastic. So we want to keep that going, and we want to keep making sure that we are taking care of our Black people. And because that's a trickle down effect, right? If the Black business is taken care of in their neighborhood, then they're also reaching out to the other different races to make sure that they're okay, and so on and so forth. So Black Resilience Fund is a really great one.
I love that. Definitely we'll get that link for you so we can share that within the description also.
Absolutely.
Now, what's something we should ultimately know about Kimber Shade that we might not already know, girl?
I really love to cook.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm like a really good cook. I love food, and I love tasting, and I love the experience. So a lot of times if you come over to my house, I'm going to definitely try to shove some food down your throat. And because that's like the way that I was taught about love, right? You feed a person, and that's how you show them that you love them.
So what would you say is a signature Kimber Shade dish?
I'm all about barbecue. So anything that I can smoke low and slow, honey, I love it. But I make a really good steak. I'm all about a steak. I do the Gordon Ramsay method. And then I also do a reverse sear, and then I do the Gordon Ramsay method. So my steaks are always succulent, juicy, amazing, flavorful, all that.
Oh my goodness. So
And however you like it. I like to serve it how you like it. So if you like it to move, it's gonna move. If you like it to be dead and crispy, I can give it to you that way too.
I like it dead and burnt. I love it. Well, we only have a couple more questions, and then we're going to play a little game.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So what can we expect next for the one and only Kimber Shade?
Oh man. So I am actually a part of the Mars mission, and I'm gonna be the first drag queen shot to Mars. I'm kidding.
Oh my God, I'm excited, like announced right here on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock.
No, what you can expect from me is going to be a lot more effort into Digital Fest because of COVID. We have this next month, I'm helping to produce the Duke, Duchess, and Duchess pageant for the Sweethearts of Portland. We also have, because of COVID, we missed the celebration for the Sweethearts Ball for the year, so we're going to be redoing that and actually be doing that digitally. You can expect a lot more videos from me and Kimberly Westwood. And then just overall, you can expect to see me being really loud on the corner, making noise.
Yes, queen, yes. I love that so much. Now, would you ever want to do like aspirations to go on shows such as like Dragula, Camp Wanakiki, or maybe even like Drag Race or something?
So rather than be on the show, I'd rather just have my own show. So I'll just announce it. Kimber Shade's Makeup Shakeup is coming. It is going to be produced by the Beauty Boys, and it is a makeup competition that is going to consist of 5 weeks, and there's going to be some awesome, awesome grand prizes. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my God! I'm so excited!
I'm just giving you everything, girl. You're getting all of the juicy tea.
I love a good exclusive, girl. Oh, perfect. Now, I have only one last question before we go to our game and make some announcements. What did you think of your experience here on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock?
This was incredible. You are so down to earth and like super just fun. So I love coming on here. And more importantly, I love to know that I'm going to be in the lineup of amazing talent that you already have. This is like the Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you so much. It's been such a privilege to finally have you on the show. I've had your daughter earlier in the show, and she talked nothing but amazing things about you. So
she better had.
So here on the show, it's like having the Virgin Mary here.
Oh.
Yes, so perfect. Now, all you beautiful boys and girls and all of those in between, if you've been enjoying this fantastic episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, I want you to look to down below within the description where you can find Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App information for both me and the one and only Kimber Shade. You know, if you've been enjoying this interview and enjoying the fact that we've spilled all the fucking tea, just throw a little dollar bills at us. It makes us feel pretty. So again, Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. Tips are always appreciated, but never mandatory, but it does help us. It's hard looking like this. Well, with that said, we do want to also announce that our next guest of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock coming here for episode 48. And I am so fucking excited for this next guest because they are so unique in their own drag aesthetic, and they're always more eager to bring you that vintage sex kitten. We are going to have the one and only queen herself, Petty Page.
Oh, sickening.
Yes, this queen is going to come on to Bitch Talk and spill the tea of being a vintage queen and also talk about giving makeovers to half of the Portland legends in their own right. So,
She's sickening.
yeah, I cannot wait to have you, Miss Petty. Now, Kimber, baby, are you ready to play a little game with me?
Girl, I came here for the games. Let's do it, honey. Let's do it.
Well, perfect. We're going to do a quick one to get you all lubed up. And
Ooh.
this one is a Bitch Talk with Bitchcock favorite that we like to call Truth or Drink.
Okay.
And how this will work is I'm going to ask you a series of shady questions, and you can either answer truthfully or take a shot.
Okay.
Okay, girl, are you ready for all the shade?
Bring it on, doctor.
Well, just like my daddy taught me, I'm going to give you the biggest and hardest thing first out. Why don't you tell me, what is the craziest thing that you've ever done in drag?
Oh, this is easy. So I wouldn't say it's craziest thing, but I went to an Adore Delato show, and we were wearing crop tops that had her catchphrase on it, and she invited me and my friend up on stage, and there's a part where she pulls another person up on stage and she makes out with them. Now listen, I am not encouraging anybody to just run up to people and make out with them, but I did it. I ran up to her and we made out, we kai-kai'd, I was in drag. It's one of my favorite moments in all of my history, not because I forced myself on Adore Delano, but because she is an icon.
Oh my God, girl, you Delano!
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And little side note, if you ever meet her in person, just act regular. Don't fangirl her, nothing. She don't like none of that.
Oh my goodness, that's good to know. Was she a good kisser?
Absolutely. No, I don't remember much of it. And it wasn't like, like we like made out for a minute. What I remember more of is like just being like, oh my God, like I just got to make out with my superhero. And it wasn't like a sexual makeout. It was like a, shock and awe. I'm gonna kai-kai with her.
Well, I was kind of hoping it was like this whole fantasy moment where like time slowed down all at once, and
that's how it went in my head. I'm sure in her head she was like, who is this broad?
Yes, queen. So for round 2, tell us about your worst performance flaw.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So it was actually right after I had won Sweethearts, and I was performing at the Velvet Rope, which is a swingers club here in Portland. And, I don't even know I took this gig. I just wanted to go and look pretty and feel myself, be a woman. Well, I did a cartwheel, the wig came off, and under the wig, I have an afro. So it just shocked the whole audience. And I remember everybody like that face right there. They were like, oh, and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to walk off. That was an instance where the show couldn't go on because the whole illusion was gone. It was done.
Oh my gosh, girl. I think that's almost as good as when I thought the first time I was going to wear a bodysuit, like wear my little dance suit fantasy, and I'm going to feel sexy. And, you know, I was dancing and I was feeling my oats, and I felt something give a little loose, and I felt my tuck kind of shift. And you know, when you're wearing dance outfits, it's basically nylons you're going to see down the legs. And then
Oh
next thing you know, I just
no.
remember seeing the footage of this and the video of this smooth tuck basically going floop, and then you just see this bulge, and it's like,
We've all been there. We've all been there.
right?
We've all been
Now
there.
for round 3. Oh, quite scandalous question I'm about to ask. Have you ever had sex in drag? Oh, oh, she's taking a shot. Girl, she's not.
A lady never
on that
kisses and
one.
tells.
No kissing and telling. Well, I like your style. Okay, girl. For round 4, what's the longest you've gone without washing your tights and undergarments?
Every time I get out of drag, don't play me. I ain't gonna have no smelling coochie. You got me
See,
fucked
you're one
up.
of the good ones.
Yeah, girl, you got me fucked up. Listen, don't you know that sweat is bacteria? You cannot have that bacteria. And that's how I know some of them ain't got pretty balls.
Ooh. Well, you know, I agree. Wash your shit because you're going to smell like shit. Well, I love it. For round 5, your last question of truth or drink, and you've only taken one shot, so you got to love it. Is there anyone within the drag scene you maybe would prefer not to work with? Oh, girl, she's taking a shot. She said, fuck, no, not answering that shit. And she's chugging.
Sorry, I'm sorry. What was the question?
You answered it right there with that giant chug of alcohol. Oh. Well, don't worry. We may have ended the round of truth or drink, but we have one more game for you, Miss Thing. Now, this one tends to get people in trouble, but we have so much fun doing it. And this is a little game that we like to call Marry, Kai, or Cancel.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, and how this will work is I'm going to read you a series of 3 names at a time, and out of those 3 names, I need you to tell me who you want to marry, who you want to kai with, and whose shows you would like to see get canceled completely.
Yes!
Well, are you ready for it, my love?
Yes, baby. Bring it on.
Okay, for round 1, let's start with some legends all throughout Oregon, including Angel Phoenix, your drag daughter, Flawless Shade, and the Queen of Wigs herself, Lilac.
Okay. So what was it? Marry, Kai, cancel.
Yes.
Okay, so if I have to do this, we're going to marry Flawless. We're going to Kai Violet, and we're going to cancel Angel Phoenix. Now, let me tell you why. Because Angel Phoenix buys all of Lilac's wigs, and I've yet to get one. So she's got to go.
Yes. There's only one thing that I heard. I want to know if I heard you correctly. Did you call Lilac Violet?
Did I do it again? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I swear to God, I do not mean to call this girl the wrong name. I love Lilac, but for some reason, I just think of Violet every time. I'm so sorry, Violet. Lilac, I'm sorry.
You're turning Violet, Lilac.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love it. Well, for round 2, we are going to give you some of your favorites from Portland, Oregon, including your growing up sister herself, the one and only Kimberly Michelle Westwood, the Queen of Black Magic, Rogue Safari, and Kimberly's pretty but, you know, sassy sister, Shima.
Oh, this is super easy. So I'm marrying Rogue Safari, I'm Kai-Kaiing Shima, and I'm canceling Kimberly Michelle Westwood. fuck Kim.
You canceled Kim?
Oh yeah, girl. Don't nobody want to see that episode no more. You gotta go.
Oh my goodness, that's some true tea there, boys and girls. Okay, for round 3, we have some more of our favorite Portland legends, including the queen of vintage drag herself, Miss Petty Page.
Okay.
The girl who likes to pop all of your cherries, Bougie Cherry.
Okay.
And she likes to get stoned, and she likes to smoke the devil's lettuce, the one and only Sativa Goddamn Jones.
Marry Kai and cancel. Okay. So we got, I'm Kai and Petty Page. Because did you see that video? It's gonna be some shit, okay?
Yeah.
I'm marrying Bougie Cherry and I'm canceling Sativa.
Oh, you can't cancel a sativa. It's just so useful during a busy day.
I'm more of an indica fan.
Girl. Well, for round 4, I thought we would get a little sexy with it and talk about some of our favorite heartthrobs.
Okay.
And I thought we would pull some of the sexiest male celebrities in here. So for round 4, we have, of course, from our era, Brad Pitt.
Okay.
We have the sexy man himself, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
And then a man who really knows how to handle his wand, Daniel Radcliffe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I gotta split them. Oh God. Okay, so look, I'm marrying Leonardo DiCaprio, straight up.
Really?
Because I just feel like it's gonna be a good life. Okay. I like Leo. I like young Leo. I like old Leo. I like every Leo in between. So I just feel like we're gonna have a good life. Okay, that's number 1. I'm Kai Brad Pitt for obvious reasons. Did you see what's that movie about Hollywood? That last one that he just made and won an Oscar for the first time? Baby, go watch it. I can't remember what it's called. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's so good. Yes, Kai, Brad Pitt.
And that means you're gonna cancel Harry Potter?
I gotta cancel Harry Potter because I never read the books. Sorry.
Oh my goodness, I love it. It's juicy, but I will say he has quite a wand. Well, I thought for round 5, in our last round of Marry Kai or Cancel, before we say our goodbyes to everyone, I would make you choose from some truly Portland legends.
Okay.
And when I say Portland legends, I mean girls who have been working at Darcel's for years.
Oh, very good.
So, for round 5, we have, of course, the one and only Poison Waters.
Poison Waters, okay.
The legendary Monica Boulevard.
Monica Boulevard, okay.
And the sassy Alexis Campbell Starr.
Okay, Marry Kai cancel.
Yes.
Oh, this one's a tough one.
All
right, so I got it. I'm gonna, damn, this is a tough one. They're all so great. Okay. I'm going to marry, I'm gonna marry Alexis. I'm gonna Kai Poison, and we gotta cancel Monica. Now listen, let me tell you why I'm gonna cancel Monica. Because Monica is one of the fiercest performers I've ever met. And if I can get rid of her before I have to battle her, then that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh my goodness, that's some Drag Race All-Stars logic right there. Get rid of the competition.
Yeah, girl.
Well, I love it. Now, Kimber, honey, I have some really fantastic news for you.
Do you?
Yeah, you survived the entire interview of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock.
We did it! Yay!
Yes, girl. Well, I'm so happy to finally get you on the show and spill all the tea. It's been such a pleasure to have you here.
You know what? I appreciate you so much, and keep doing what you're doing, girl, because you have 46 interviews with new queens in Portland. Nobody else can touch you.
Thank you. It's something I truly love doing. I will take this moment just to announce that Bitch Talk with Bitchcock will be taking a break after episode 50 for just a month, just so I can breathe a little. These corsets squeeze a lot.
You deserve it.
Yeah, I'm just going to take August off just to enjoy the summer and kind of recoup some mental wellness. But we will be back in September for That's Right, Boys and Girls and all those in between, season 2 of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, where we will have lots of fantastic new guests and hopefully maybe a new layout. Oh.
Woo, I love an upgrade, girl. I'll be here for season 2. I'm subscribed.
Well, perfect. Now, all of you beautiful boys and girls and all of those in between, I hope you've been enjoying this fantastic episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock with the amazing Kimber Shade. If you want to show a little extra appreciation, again, look down below within the description where you can find the PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo information for both me and Kimber Shade. Please make sure to throw a little something extra if you can. Again, appreciated, never mandatory. With that also said, I cannot wait for our next episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock this Friday. Again, for episode 48, as we have the one and only Patty Page. I'm so excited. It makes my nipples hard. So all of you beautiful boys and girls, please keep watching all of our episodes of Bitch Talk with Bitchcocks. And if you haven't yet, watch some of the past episodes. You can even catch Kimber Shade's drag daughter, Flawless Shade. So, all of you beautiful people, tune into all of our episodes. And in the meantime, Kimber, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we love you all, and we hope you have a fun and fantastic, safe week. Bye. Oh, goodness, the scandal of it all.